I ask that if you watch this, please don't just watch 5 or 10 or 15 seconds of it and then change the video. Please watch the entire video. If you do not have time to watch the entire video right now, please press pause and make a mental note to come back later on, sometime tonight, maybe when you're laying down getting ready to go to bed, and when you have free time to watch the entire video, because I believe this might be the most important video that I ever make. So, for the past few weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I felt like God has been telling me, He revealed something to me, and I felt like He wanted me to make this video the last few weeks. I'm sure everybody knows a month ago, today's August 18th, a month ago on July 15th, there was an assassination attempt against President Trump. That was on July 15th, 2024. 4 months before that, on March 14th, 2024, there's a man named Brandon Biggs. He's on YouTube, you can look him up, and I'll try to put the video on here so you guys can see what it looks like. I suggest you watch the entire video. I'm gonna try and show a clip on here. I don't know if I can do that. But
back America, because the Lord told me, He said, I am not done with America. Amen. He said there's going to be a new wave of patriotism coming out, and that's whenever I saw Trump, and I saw a red wave coming out of Michigan, and then I saw Oklahoma, and there was embers of people, and they were all on they had torches all throughout Oklahoma, and they were raising up these torches that looked like fire, and they were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation, and it was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame.
So this was posted in March of this year, 4 months before President Trump had the assassination attempt. In the video, Brandon Biggs says, God showed me an assassination attempt on President Trump's life. I saw a bullet go right past his ear. So that was 4 months before that was fulfilled. That was 4 months before that actually happened. He continues in the video and says that he sees President Trump winning the election in November, but immediately after that, there's a great stock market crash. He says this stock market crash is worse than the Great Depression. Now, if you don't know history, the Great Depression was probably the worst time in United States history, not counting the Civil War. So when he said that, when I watched this video a few weeks ago, when he said after President Trump wins the election, I saw a great financial crisis worse than the Great Depression, I stopped and I prayed and I thought, Lord, what would cause a financial crisis greater than the Great Depression after President Trump gets elected into the White House again? Because when he got elected into the White House the first time, we got the tax cuts. The stock market broke record over and over and over. We had the greatest economy that we've ever had in the United States of America. What in the world would cause a stock market crash greater than the Great Depression after he gets elected? And it's like I saw, as soon as I asked that, as soon as I thought about that, it's like I saw a map of the United States of America, just the mainland, not Alaska, not Hawaii, but just the 48 states. And it's like I saw an image or a video in my mind of it, and every single state there was no power. And I had the understanding that there would be an attack on our power grid, which I've heard before. I've heard Tucker Carlson talk about other nations attacking our power grid, completely wiping out our power grid. Why would they want to do that? Somebody asked Tucker Carlson, what are you going to do if somebody drops a nuke on us? And he said, why would they drop a nuke on us? All they have to do is attack our power grid. All they have to do is turn off the lights and people will go crazy. They won't know what to do.
Don't want to travel. If things go sideways, I don't, I don't think you want to be on the road. I mean,
That's a good point.
The 2 times I've been in places for brief periods where, there really was no authority.
What did that feel like and where was it?
One was at Katrina right after the storm in New Orleans.
Wow, you were down there, huh, bro?
I was. And the other was in Baghdad in December of 03 when it kind of like started to get, I felt, out of hand.
And which one was more hectic, you think?
Oh, Baghdad. But for the United States, no one ever says this. I really feel like Katrina was almost unbelievable how chaotic it was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for real. I mean, I could bore you, but
Oh, I've been at a game when the Saints are fucking losing to the Falcons and it gets fucking hectic enough.
there is no one there to call,
Right.
period. And then people start behaving in ways that are ridiculous. And I saw that with my own eyes. And dead people and people getting shot. Like I saw it, I'm not guessing. And I was just like, this cannot be America. Like I always thought if something bad happened, there would be like, you just like call some special number and like dad comes and restores order. No, at all. The police were looting. I saw it.
Yeah.
The police were looting during Katrina. So that's, anyway, whatever. My point is, I don't think you want to travel too much if you can help it.
Yeah.
It's better to be in a place where you're just like, this is my place and I'm defending it with these firearms. But until things calm down, until like electricity is restored after the EMP attack or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen.
There'll be a nuclear attack?
No, there's going to be, it's pretty easy to take down a society that's digital.
Oh, yeah. Once you unplug that, and then but that's a crazy feeling when you're like, okay, because your first thought is, let me call somebody.
Nope.
Your phone isn't going to work.
No calling, no oil through the pipelines, no food delivery.
God's going to have the busiest afternoon.
No airlines, no one on the roads, dams fail. Like it all, if you've put everything online, because the people who run our country are so stupid, they've actually done that. You are so vulnerable that it's unbelievable. And you're using Chinese servers and switchers. And like at that point, you have no control. You don't need to drop a nuke on anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all,
Just
if anybody's
scramble
doing
the
any of that shit,
circuits.
do not nuke.
You don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Let us at least enjoy the mystery of it for a little while, too.
But people are that doesn't mean just no DoorDash. That means no anything. And people, one thing I've noticed in both the places I've been
No Stacy Dash either, huh? That bitch,
No Stacy
Sorry,
Dash. You
that was
can't
dumb.
call any of your call girls from the interstate.
Oh, thank God, dude. What if they start showing it? You're like,
They will. They'll be seeking rep.
So, that happened a few weeks ago. Now, a few days ago, I was praying about it, thinking about it, because I felt like God wanted me to make a video about this. But I was not 100% sure. I was thinking maybe that was just my imagination. Maybe it wasn't God telling me that. Thankfully, God will send you confirmations when He's telling you something. He won't let you continue to doubt that it was His voice. He will send you confirmations. So, I was on YouTube and I saw a video pop up that Perry Stone posted. And I saw it the day that he posted it. I think he posted it 5 or 6 days ago. I'm also going to post on here a picture of that video so you can go and watch that. I do ask that you watch these videos. But in the video, he says that he has a friend who searches the dark web basically to spy on people who are doing criminal activity on the dark web. He says his friend told him a month ago, 2 weeks before Microsoft had that accident where all the planes were grounded and there was companies all over the world that couldn't do business because Microsoft apparently had a mistake. They said it was a mistake. But planes were grounded for 2-3 days. People couldn't get home for 2 or 3 days. Perry Stone says the day that happened, 2 weeks before that happened, his friend told him to the day, I think it was July 19th that it happened. It might have been July 18th. His friend told him 2 weeks before that happened, the exact day, he said, hey, if you have to fly on this day, don't do it. Take an earlier flight or take a later flight because all planes are going to be grounded on this day because there's going to be a cyber attack. So Microsoft says it was an accident, but how did this guy's friend know about this? It wasn't an accident, it was intentional. In the video, Perry Stone says his friend just told him again of the next attack that's going to be on the United States of America. And in this video, he says, my friend told me there's going to be an attack on the United States power grid to wipe out all of the electricity, to wipe out all the power in the United States of America.
Here's what I've got to tell you, though. The information I'm giving you has come out of the dark web. So to protect this man, I will never tell you what state he's in, what city he's in, or who he is. He said to me personally, sitting at a table, 2 weeks before the CloudStrike antivirus software failed and caused all of these delays, There was a warning on the dark web to avoid traveling around that time frame because the majority of planes would be grounded. Well, when he read this, it came from an individual that keeps up with certain things that normally is correct in their information. So he went to some people that were getting ready to travel and said, you do not need to travel on that day. Go earlier, go a couple of days later, but there's going to be a mess that day. And sure enough, exactly as it was predicted in that statement on the dark web, it happened. Now, how did they know that was going to happen would be my question. This company says it was a glitch. It was something that happened. And, people were talking viruses or hackers and all that kind of thing. But how did they know that someone was going to hit this button and it was going to mess up these systems? Now, I'm not a computer expert, so I'm not going into the depth of trying to explain this. Other people on the internet can do that for you. So here's what I want to say. I said, well, what else have you learned? He said, well, the same person who reported that, and it was accurate 2 weeks later, has said the next attack, now everybody pay attention, is going to be the power grid in the United States. Now, the United States has 7,300 power plants. We have 160,000 miles of high voltage lines. We have millions and millions of miles of low voltage lines connecting 145 million customers, all right? Last year, there was 163 different forms of cyber attacks. Many of them, of course, are stopped and prevented. Some of them kind of get through very temporarily, but 163 just last year. The U.S. grid, and I've seen many articles on this, is extremely vulnerable to cyber attacks. So here is the information. I'm just going to throw this out there. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't want this to happen. This would not be good to any place that is affected by it, especially if it's the entire United States. Because you've got to remember, if there's an attack that takes place on the power grid, gas pumps don't work, credit cards don't work, your electricity don't work, your television doesn't work, your computer battery runs out, your phone battery runs out. You could be at a crisis level within 24 to 48 hours and panic with people as well, if they know it's the grid.
The water towers won't have power, so they won't be able to pump water to your homes. So you won't have any running water coming out of your faucet, coming out of the bathtub. Your toilet's not going to work. No running water, no electricity. The cell phone towers will not work either, meaning once the lights go out and you pull out your phone, because a lot of times in my neighborhood when they were building the houses a few years ago, the lights would go out like once a week. As soon as it did, pull out our phone, I would check Facebook, I would check my neighborhood's Facebook page and see other people saying, hey, is anybody else's power out? Is anybody else's power out? And people would be commenting, yes, we just spoke with ERCOT and the power should be back up here in an hour or two. So I'd be, oh, okay, so this isn't just us, it's other people. An hour or two, it should be back up, cool. And then I would just go on Facebook or YouTube or do something until the power came back on. When this attack against the power grid happens, the cell phones will not work. You will not be able to check Facebook. You won't be able to call anybody. You won't be able to send a text message to anybody. You will have no information of what's going on. Now, we have an entire generation of people who have grown up on cell phones, who have grown up on social media, and they do not know how to communicate to other people. They don't know how to live without their cell phone. So I want you to think about this. Put yourself in this scenario. Let's just say you're at home and all the power in your house goes out. And you check your cell phone and there's a red thing at the top and you have no cell phone service. And you click on Facebook and it doesn't load. And then you click on Safari to check Google and it doesn't load. You try to send a text message and it doesn't send. You try to make a phone call and it does the beeping thing and it doesn't work. And then you go into the other room where your kids or your husband or your wife is at, and their phone's not working either. Their internet's not working either. Nothing in your house is working, and everybody in the house, their phones are not working. What would you do in that situation? I imagine it would be just a matter of minutes before people start freaking out, because that's not normal. Power goes out a lot, but it's not normal for every single person's phone in the house to not be working either. This is going to start causing panic if we don't do what I'm about to share here in a few minutes. The reason this causes fear is because you don't know what's going on. Okay, the reason I'm not afraid when the power goes out is because I can check my phone and I can see what's going on. But when you can't check your phone and you can't see what's going on and you can't communicate with other people, you don't know, is it just your house? And if it is just your house, why is everybody's phone in the house not working? So what to do in that situation? When this takes place, when the lights go out, I don't know where you're going to be at when this happens. I don't know when it's going to happen. In the Perry Stone video, he said his friend told him it's going to happen sometime between August and the election. There's another video, which I'm going to post right here. It's only 6 minutes long. It's called Anonymous Fed Knows What the October Surprise Will Be. He says he believes there will be an attack on the power grid in October. Brandon Biggs, the first guy I talked about in that video where they were talking about the solar eclipse, he never says it's an attack on the power grid. He says he sees a financial crisis. When I prayed, it was God who told me it would be an attack on the power grid. That would cause the financial crisis. It was a confirmation when I saw the Perry Stone video a few days ago, and the Anonymous Fed Knows What the October Surprise Will Be. I saw, I think, yesterday or the day before yesterday. Those were confirmations that it was God telling me that. Those were my confirmations. So Brandon Biggs says he sees President Trump already in the White House. He gets elected to the White House, and then a financial crisis happens. The two other guys, Perry Stone and the other guy, says they believe it will be before the election. So we have no idea when it's going to happen. We just know that it is going to happen at some point. The safest place to be when this happens is at your home. So here's a few scenarios. If you are at home when this happens, all the lights go out. Okay, check your phone. If your phone's not working, if anybody else is in the house, go check on them. Check if their phones are working. If none of their phones are working either, make sure the doors are locked. You use wisdom when it comes to this, okay? Have somebody, a husband, dad, I don't know, somebody, preferably an adult, go check on your neighbors, okay? Even if you don't know your neighbors, even if you don't talk to your neighbors. That's if you have neighbors. Some people live alone out in the country. If you have neighbors, go next door, knock on their door. When they answer, introduce yourself if they don't know you, if you haven't talked to them. Hey, I'm your next door neighbor. Our power's off and our phones aren't working. Are you having the same issue? Here's why you need to do that. Okay, if they're having the same issue, which if it's an attack on the power grid, they will be having the same issue. It only takes a few minutes for fear to kick in. And fear can be very contagious, but courage is also contagious. So it's good that you go over there. It's necessary. It's vital that you go over there, knock on the door, and find out if they're going through that also. What this does is it shares information with them. Because right now you're not getting any information. You can't check the internet. You can't check the TV for news to see what's going on. So the only bit of information that gets shared is between you and other people. So now your neighbor knows, hey, my neighbor, they just introduced themselves to me if I don't know them. Their phones aren't working either. My phone's not working. Our power's not working. I wonder what's going on. So ask them if their power's working, if their phone's working. Okay, next, do they know what's going on? Obviously, they probably won't, but it's going to help them know that you also don't know what's going on. Okay, third, ask them, do you guys need anything? Is everybody okay? Because some people might, there's people who live at home that have like medical conditions where they have to be on some kind of device that's keeping them alive. So if the power goes out, that person's gonna die in a matter of who knows how long. If they need this electricity to power this device that's keeping them alive. So ask them, is everybody okay? Okay, and then let them know I'm going door to door. I'm checking on the rest of the neighbors, seeing if they know what's going on. This lets your neighbor know. This is building structure, okay? Without information, when fear kicks in, there's no structure, okay? It can create anarchy. If you stay home and don't go check on your neighbors, and your neighbors stay home and don't go check on their neighbors, it's only a matter of time before they get scared and say, okay, well, we don't have enough food, we don't have enough water, let me go to the grocery store. I need to see if this is happening anywhere else. When they get to the grocery store and they try to go get food and they realize, hey, the grocery store doesn't have any electricity, so I can't use my debit or credit card, I can't even use cash to buy anything here, people are going to resort to stealing. Okay. When that happens, people are going to start panicking, and it's going to turn into a every man for himself situation. It's going to create anarchy. People will start fighting over food. People will start killing each other over food. Look at all the people who fight during Black Friday sales. They're fighting over a TV or a computer. Okay. Just imagine how much worse it will be when people are fighting over food and water and they have no idea what's going on. They don't know if America's been attacked, if other places are getting bombed. They don't know what's going on. So grocery stores are very dangerous to go to at this time, which is why it's important you let your neighbor know, do you need anything? And if they're like, well, we don't have any food, we don't have any water, let them know. Or if they're like, hey, we don't have any baby formula, we don't have any diapers. Okay, I'm taking a list with me, I'm writing down your address, I'm writing down what you need. I'm gonna check with the other neighbors and see if they have anything that you need. Also find out if they know who their neighbor is. If them and their neighbors are cool, friends, they've hung out before, they need to stick together. They need to communicate. Let them know, just use wisdom in that situation, because every situation is going to be different. Then go on to the next house and repeat those steps. Let them know, hey, I'm your neighbor, I live over there. Our power's out, our phone's out. I talked to your neighbor. Same thing with them. They're doing okay. They don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Do you know what's going on? Okay. Is everybody okay? Do you guys need anything? I'm just going through the neighborhood, checking on everybody, seeing if anybody needs anything. This lets everybody know. It shares information. It builds structure. It builds trust. It gives them someone to rely on. They don't have to rely on themselves. They don't have to race to the grocery store and panic and start looting the stores and just causing mass panic. Okay. So that's what needs to be done if you're at home. If you are driving, you may not immediately know when the power goes out. But let's say you're driving and you check your phone and suddenly your phone's not working. Well, that's weird. Why is my phone not working? Okay. You keep on driving. Let's say you come up to a stoplight and the stoplight is not on. And you look at the other stoplight and that one's not on. And you look at this stoplight if you're at a four-way stop and that's not on. This is weird. In that situation, continue to obey the traffic laws. Don't blow through a stoplight. Don't blow through a stop sign. Don't park in the middle of the street and get out of your car and start walking around trying to see what's going on. Parking in the middle of the street and just leaving your vehicle there is not normal. It's going to cause people to start freaking out. When they see the lights are off and people are parking their cars everywhere, what the heck's going on? It will cause fear. It's very easy when you don't know what's going on to get scared of little things. We do not want that. We want every single person in the USA to chill, to remain calm. That's one of the reasons I'm making this video. It's important to know that this is not an attack, and this is not judgment from God. Okay? God is allowing this. It's an attack from Satan. He's using another nation to attack us. If you watched my first video, it says something Revelation 12. If you watch that video, you'll see where Satan uses people like kings. Back in the Bible, he used King Herod to try to kill Jesus. He used Adolf Hitler to try to kill all the Jewish people before Israel became a nation again in 1948. If you watch that video, you'll understand that the devil uses people to attack other people. Okay, this is a spiritual battle. So this is not from God, but he's going to allow it. And the reason he's allowing it is it's a great awakening. Okay, it's a great correction. In this situation, people who are in love with the world will not have access to the world. Okay, they will have to seek after God. This is to wake them up. Over and over and over, God's been trying to wake people up because he is coming back very soon. Judgment, actual judgment, is going to be terrible. Everyone who is left behind after Jesus returns, they will go through that judgment. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, they want as little people left on earth as possible. They want as many people to be taken when Jesus returns as possible. And this is going to help that, which is why he's allowing this. If you belong to Jesus, you are going to be okay. He's going to take care of us. But it is important that you start preparing for this now. If you've heard about the story of Joseph and his brothers sold Joseph into slavery. Okay, Joseph gets thrown into prison. The Pharaoh, who's the leader of Egypt, has a dream and no one can interpret it. So they call Joseph out of the prison to come and interpret Pharaoh's dream. And Joseph tells him, okay, God's given me the interpretation. He's telling you that for the next 7 years, there's going to be great abundance in Egypt. But for 7 years after the 7 years of abundance, there's going to be a great famine so terrible that people won't even remember these 7 years of abundance. So what do we need to do? We need to begin preparing for this famine right now. Okay, God warned Egypt what was going to happen and that they needed to start preparing for this event. Okay, God has been warning not just me, Harry Stone, that other guy, multiple different people. I was reading comments on YouTube. There's multiple other people who said they've been having dreams of this. They said their kids have been having dreams of no power, people laying on the streets, people, dying of hunger. God's warning us that this is going to come. Okay, he won't allow something like this to happen without warning us first. Our job is to prepare for this. What's the best way to prepare? I don't know how long the lights will be out. I don't know how long the power will be out. If I had to make an educated guess, I would hope that it's not more than 3 days, because a few years ago I started seeing videos on YouTube, people saying they had dreams of 3 days of darkness, where for 3 days there was no power in the United States of America. This is several years ago. So I believe the power will only be out for 3 days, because as soon as the power goes out and our government knows what happened, they're going to be working 24/7 to try to get the power back on. Some of the videos that I just talked to you about, they say they think the power might be out for a few weeks. I have no idea how many weeks it'll be out, how many days it'll be out. I'm praying it won't be more than 3 days. In the videos, they said prepare for 2 or 3 weeks. Get enough canned food, get enough water to last you 2 or 3 weeks. Because when the power goes out, nobody's going to go to work anymore. Okay, truck drivers can't deliver food to grocery stores. So when the power comes back on, it's not like everything's going to go back to normal overnight the moment the power comes back on. If you live in a small town, there's a greater chance of success. What do I mean by success is getting through this power outage without people killing each other, without complete anarchy taking over. If you live in a small town, there's a greater chance of that happening. If you live in a big town with hundreds of thousands of people, probably going to be less of a chance that everybody will remain peaceful. So stock up on canned food, stock up on water, stock up on medicine if you need medicine to live. Make sure you have a gun, at least one gun, and ammunition just in case. in case anybody tries to break into your home. I've heard people say, oh, I have a generator. Generator's good. That depends. Generator's kind of an attention grabber. If you have a group of people who are ganging up when the power's out and they see that your house has power, there's a chance they're going to be like, this guy has power, he must have supplies, let's break in there. So I think a generator is really only useful if you absolutely need it to live, which goes back to if you have someone in your home who needs a machine to live and they need electricity, then yeah, it's good to have a generator. If you are a first responder, a police officer, a firefighter, somebody in the government, it's important to check with your bosses and ask them, do we have a what to do scenario? Do we have a what to do list in the case, in a scenario, if the whole United States lost power? What would we do in that situation? Because we couldn't communicate with each other. We couldn't call each other. I doubt their radios connecting to dispatch would work. Do we have a situation? Do we have a to-do list of what we would do in that situation when all the power is out? What would we do? How would we keep the peace? Okay, because I don't think a lot of law enforcement have a plan of what to do, because nobody thinks about that. Nobody thinks, what would I do if the whole United States of America's power shut off and I had no communication? So it's good to start thinking about that. And if you do work as a police officer or something, it's good to ask your bosses about that. I'm trying to think. Start praying also. Right now. Pray that God is glorified through this. Pray that it does not last that long. Pray that the effects of the power being out does not last weeks. Okay, it doesn't have to last weeks. We can ask God for anything. The Bible says, ask and you shall receive if it's according to his will. So what I've been praying, and I ask other people to pray, is, Lord, please receive all the glory. Please receive many people. Let many people turn to you when this happens. But please do not let the effects last for weeks and weeks and weeks. Because I don't want America to be screwed up for weeks and weeks and weeks. So it does not hurt to ask. One more thing, because I think I covered everything that I was thinking about sharing. Please share this video. If it's on TikTok, if it's on YouTube, if it's on Facebook, if you want to text it to somebody, even if you do not believe that this is something that's going to happen, please send it to somebody. Because if I was the only one who was saying, hey, there's going to be a power outage, then I would understand people's doubt. But when you have multiple people saying the same exact thing, that there's going to be an attack on our power grid, people need to know about this. All right, here's the good thing. Brandon Biggs, in that video, when he said he saw President Trump in an assassination attempt when the bullet go past his ear, he said, I saw Trump winning the White House. After that, there was a great financial crisis, and I saw President Trump in the Oval Office on his knees, weeping and praying before the Lord, and there were other ministers around him on their knees praying with him in the Oval Office. After the great financial crisis, I saw the trees begin to bloom. So we get through this financial crisis. He sees us get through the financial crisis. Remember, he does not see a power blackout. He never says that God showed him a power blackout. He just says God showed him a financial crisis worse than the Great Depression. He says after this, things get better, America becomes great, okay? And there's a huge revival of many people being saved. So there is hope. There is hope for America. So please send this to someone, pray about this, and thank you for watching.